Sana kuona Waganda wamejaza masikio vyombo vya utafsiri, tena lugha yenyewe ambayo wanatafsiri ni lugha ya zaidi ya Kibantu. Sasa najiuliza watu ni wazungu, ni watu gani hao? I bring fraternal greetings from the people of Uganda. Thank you, Your Excellency, for inviting me, and also the business people for inviting us to share with you ideas on the important idea of trade. In order watu wamekuwa wanajiuliza kwa nini watu wanaweka vikwazo kwenye shughuli za biashara, hasa watumishi wa serikali. Ni kwa sababu hawaelewi umuhimu wa biashara. Kwenye vichwa vyao wanafikiri kuna njia nyingine ya kuinua ustawi wa jamii wa watu bila biashara. They think there is another way a country can develop without trading. They are not clear. They don't know how countries develop. They don't know. Hawajasoma kitabu cha mzungu moja Adam Smith ambacho aliandika kwenye mwaka 1776. This is 300 years ago. Wengine hawajasoma hicho kitabu, which is entitled The Source of the Wealth of Nations. Utajiri wa nchi wanatoka wapi? That's why they delay. They think they are doing, wanafikiri wanasaidia wafanyabiashara. Yes, stop. They think they are doing favor to the business people. They don't know that for the country to survive, they must do business. So, coincidentally, I had actually, in my written speech, I had started with that point. I didn't know what you were going to discuss here, but I know that's what the problem is. In order to put trade in context, it is good to remind ourselves that man has been here on earth for the last 4.5 million years. Binadamu wamekuwa hapa miaka 4.5 million. Most of that time, man has had to contend with two enemies: oppression of man by nature in the form of diseases, floods, drought, wild animals, etc., and also oppression of man by fellow men, slavery, feudalism, tyranny, colonialism, crime, etc. Kwenye miaka milioni 4.5 binadamu amekuwa anakandamizwa. Shida za aina mbili. Shida ya kwanza, shida ambazo zinatokana na mazingira, surround nature. What do you call nature? Nature. The second one, binadamu wengine kukandamiza binadamu wenzao. Two problems. For the last 4 million years, oppression of man by nature and oppression of man by man. With the successful anti-colonial struggles, independence was achieved and even democracy was achieved. This laid the basis for, at last, Africa being free of tyranny by man, because prior to this, Africans were living under the tyranny of the chiefs, or under colonialism, or under slavery or serfdom. That left the problem of oppression by nature. During most of the 4.5 million years, man had been trying to tame nature by inventing tools or technologies like the stone tools, the invention of fire, the invention of iron tools, etc., that helped him to work and try to ameliorate his condition. Much of this effort was by man's or beast's muscles. I.e., man, horse, camel, donkey. It was after the Renaissance in Europe that man started using machines. The printing press was invented by Johannes Gutenberg in the year 1440. The steam engine was invented by Thomas Savery in the year 1698. The railway steam engine was invented by George Stephenson in the year 1823. It is this shift from the use of human and beast muscle to the use of machines that marked the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. So these African civil servants and politicians, they are out of date. They think we are in the era of blacksmiths who are using muscles. Niliambiwa kwa Swahili hakuna neno moja la blacksmith. Wakati nilikuwa Moshi niwauliza kusema blacksmith wana mhitaji, wakasema mpigaji wa chuma cha pua. Lakini hiyo sio neno moja. Kuna neno la Kibantu, labda siku hizo mmepata hilo neno. Niliondoka zamani mlikuwa hamjapata. So the blacksmith kwa lugha za kule barani ni omhesi okuhesha. So the African actors don't know that the time of the people who are using muscles, like the blacksmith, or using animals to do work, like the donkey or the horse, they don't know that those days are long gone. It's now almost 400 years, 300 years since the introduction of the use of machines to do work. It is this shift from the use of human and beast muscle to the use of machines that marked the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. And this is where the issue is. This is where the issue is. Either you want your country to progress or to stagnate and collapse. The use of machines ushered in large-scale production. When you go to machine production, you are no longer the other Muhesi, who is producing one whole every 2 days. You are now producing many products per minute. The machines don't produce moja. They produce en masse. The use of machines ushered in large-scale production. Mass production of goods and services can only be sustained with commensurate large-scale consumption. This is where the African people are out of date. Large-scale production must be matched by large-scale consumption. If there is a disequilibrium between the two, you get a crisis. That is what happened in 1929 when capitalism had to crash and was forced to mutate, to change into quasi-socialist system of the welfare state. Kwa sababu wazungu walikuwa hawajaelewa this linkage between large-scale production by machines and large-scale consumption. They just produced until 1929 when there was nobody to buy. You produce, but nobody buys. If nobody buys, what happens? You suspend production. You lay off the workers. Because the workers are laid off, they can no longer buy even what they were buying because they have no money in their pocket. So there was a crisis, which these professors of the university should know about. 1929, when capitalism collapsed and had to change now. That's how they introduced what they call the welfare state, whereby even if you are not employed, the government gives you money so that at least you can buy. This is how the welfare state started in Europe. Because they could see the disequilibrium between large-scale production and low consumption. This is where the government, that's how after capitalism became quasi-socialist. The welfare state, where the government had to give free money to the unemployed people to enable them to at least buy the products of capitalism in order to save capitalist system. It is these 3 points that took long for actors in Africa to grasp. The 3 are: shift from power of the muscle of man or beast to the power of machines in order to do work more efficiently and on a bigger scale. Secondly, shift from the pre-capitalist system of primitive self-sufficiency of communities, which is sometimes called subsistence farming, working only for the stomach, to working for food security to working for food security and commercial production, working for the pocket. There's also that issue of which needs to change within each of our countries, because in Uganda certainly it's still a problem where, especially in a rich country like Uganda, where you don't have to be very bright to survive. Even if you are not so bright, you survive. In other countries, when you're not bright, you die, and the matter is resolved. But in a very rich country like Uganda, unaweza kuwa hapo hufanye kazi yoyote, but you live, you just eat it. And that's how, like for instance, in Uganda, as recently as 2014, a total of 68% of the homesteads of Uganda were still engaged in subsistence agriculture. That means chilimo cha tumbo peke yake. I don't know the figures of Tanzania, but certainly in Uganda, even by 2014, 68% of the homesteads were engaged in chilimo cha tumbo peke yake. Hakuna kilimo cha mfuko, no production for the pocket, only producing for eating. So this is the second problem. Certainly in Uganda it's a big one, and I've been engaged in a big campaign to wake up people to produce for the stomach, but also for the pocket. Thirdly, once the people wake up and start working commercially, the volumes will be so big that they will need huge markets within the respective countries, regionally and internationally. This is the third problem we would have to deal with. When these Africans wake up, who will buy the huge things, the huge volume they are producing? It's good in a way that we are underproducing now, because many people don't have much to sell. You hear President Magufuli telling you that the goods going to Uganda are 7 million tons. But if you take a stretch, I don't have the figures, but you can go and check it. If you take the part of China from Beijing to Shanghai, how many tons are going there each year? Because it is about the same distance from Shanghai to Beijing as from Mombasa, for instance, to Kampala. There are some maybe slightly longer. But how much volume of business? How many tons? So why are these people here sending less tons to the ocean than the ones in China? Kwa sababu wamelala, as the president was saying. They are not producing. Many of them are just eating free things which nature is giving them, because here it is easy to survive. Even if you don't work, you don't die, or you don't die quickly, you die slowly. Unakufa kimya kimya, sio kwa ghafla. These three are a must for Africa to survive. They answer the question, because the question in all this, really what, I don't want to blame so much the business people, it's mainly the government people, really. the big problem with the government people is to answer the question which Adam Smith answered in 1776. Where does the wealth of nations come from? Utajiri wa mataifa unatoka wapi? You need to answer that. Of course, the answer is there, but we need to agree that that is the answer. Where does the wealth of nations come from? By the time Adam Smith answered that question,